Hey everybody out there, I'm gonna do a video about this Nickelodeon segment called the Splat and the things that I like about it and things I don't like about it. So this is the things that I like about it. I like about it that they're airing old '90s Nickelodeon TV shows on that segment, and I really appreciate that because those are shows that I grew up with as a kid, and I watched them I watched them a lot throughout my childhood. Then I like it that they're bringing those good old shows back. And then what I also like about it is that they also air the bumpers, some of the bumpers. They air a lot of '90s bumpers too throughout the segment that I like the bumpers, and then the bumps. Some of those are bumpers that I've actually seen when I was a actually seen. And then it's so cool that they had this other thing that they aired where these two millennial kids from the '90s who remember Nickelodeon from the '90s, and they had Keenan Thompson and I think Kel Mitchell and Lloyd Denver doing this like 60 minutes with two millennials or something. And then the person will pull out questions out of a bowl and then ask the question. The person who hits their buzzer first can answer the question. Yeah, and that's how they did it. I think they did it with Keenan Thompson. I know that Kel Mitchell, they did it with Kel Mitchell, and I think they did it with Lloyd Denver. I don't think they did it with Josh Server. They might have done with him. I'm not too sure because I don't know if I saw that one. Yeah, and then I like it. Yeah, those are the things I like about the segment. But the things I hate about the segment, there's a lot more I hate about that. I like about it. The one thing I hate about it is that it comes on late at night. It comes on late at night when people who watch those shows in the '90s are asleep and are sleeping and stuff. Yeah, sleeping and stuff. They should show it in a primetime slot where all the people that are that saw those shows as kids would be able to watch them and be able to see them. And then I hated. There's one thing that I've noticed that they haven't aired every single '90s Nickelodeon TV show on that channel. That some of the TV shows that they have not shown on that channel, that came on the '90s on a segment on the TV shows that they haven't aired on that segment called the Splat on Teen Nick that they haven't aired. The shows they haven't aired on there, they were shows from the '90s. Are What Would You Do, hosted by Mark Summers. That show, What Would You Do, that took place at the Nickelodeon studio that used to be at Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida. Wild and Crazy Kids, Cousin Skeeter, The Adventures of Pete and Pete, My Brother and Me, Brother and Me, and uh, and then Kablam. Those were some shows, 90 Nickelodeon TV shows that were not aired, that they never aired on the Splat. Since they never aired on them on the Splat, that makes me angry because it seems what I've noticed that they've been airing a lot of is they've been airing many times. They've been airing a lot of Hey Arnold, Cat Dog, and Rugrats, which those are shows from the '90s, but they're not the only shows from the '90s, and they rarely air shows like Salute Your Shorts, Crystal Explains It All, uh, shows like those. They air shows like those not that much. Yeah, and then they also haven't aired this show too. They haven't aired uh aired this show called what show it's called? It's called I forgot the name of the show, but it's a show they haven't aired on this channel. Oh, and the Secret of Alex Mack. They haven't aired Secret of Alex Mack on this segment. They haven't aired that show. That show was aired on the segment when it was called the '90s or all that, but it hasn't been aired yet on the segment on the Splat. It hasn't been aired on the Splat yet. It hasn't been aired on the Splat yet, and they should air that show because that's a great show that I grew up with too. It was a great ass show. It was a show that showed me stuff that weren't. I liked about that show is that I like about that show is that it was about a girl who was able to do things that you can't do in real life. Where she got magical powers by being spilled with some chemicals, and then she got some special powers and stuff. She could do things there were things that I wish I could have done in life, like shoot electricity out of my fingers and be able to turn into a water puddle and start surfing across the floor and go under a door and go under a closed door and stuff. That was so cool. And that's so awesome and so cool, and it's kind of cool stuff. It was awesome stuff, and that was a cool show too. And those are some of the shows that shows that this segment hasn't aired. Yep. Hopefully this segment gets better because I've not been watching this segment that much. It's the Splat because they haven't been airing enough variety of 90s Nickelodeon TV shows to make it worth it watching, to make it worth watching. And also it comes on too late at night for me, and I don't really want to stay up late watching it. That's why I just don't. If I miss it and stuff, and don't care. If they had another primetime slot, then I may more likely want to see it or something. Want to see it or check it out. Check it out if they do that. Yeah, so those are just my things I like and dislike about the Splat. And I hope the Splat gets better and doesn't stay the way it is and it stay the way it is and stuff. So I hope it gets better.